So, no winners, just losers. To discuss this with me, I'm joined in the studio now by Holger Schmieding. He's chief economist at the Berenberg Bank. Thank you very much for joining us, Holger. Like me, you're German, but you've lived in London for many, many years. What's your general take on the Brexit debate so far?
It is a very irrational debate. It is mostly now a debate about immigration rather than about the benefits of being part of the European Union, the biggest common market in the world. And being such a highly emotional debate, it's very difficult to predict the outcome. Recent polls have shifted in favor of those who actually want to leave.
Holger, the World Bank, the IMF, the OECD, all major Western governments, everybody and his brother has warned against a Brexit. Have you heard any convincing economic argument for leaving?
No, not at all.
Can you elaborate on that?
There just isn't a convincing economic argument for leaving. The EU is the biggest market in the world. Britain is a major part of it. To eject yourself from your major market is just lunacy. And the dream of some people that Britain, outside the EU, would be able to deregulate itself so much that it could offset the loss from trade in Europe, that is just a dream. Because if you want to trade with anybody else in the world, you will have to abide by some regulations, and many regulations around the world are at least as onerous as those of the EU.
The IMF, for example, has warned explicitly that a Brexit would also have global consequences. The global economy would suffer. Do you agree?
There is a significant risk that a vote for Brexit would be a financial event, that we would have significant financial market reactions, and that we would have significant uncertainty about the future of Britain and, to some extent, about the future of Europe. Uncertainty is bad for business, so the likely result would be a significant hit to the British economy, a modest hit to the EU economy, and some ripple effects across the world, yes.
Some of the London hedge funds have made big donations to the Leave campaign. What do the hedge funds have to gain? Are they the only ones who have to gain anything in the financial services industry?
Well, there are hedge funds like this, there are hedge funds like that. Hedge funds bet on many, many things. And of course, yes, there are some who bet on Britain leaving. There are others betting on Britain staying. I think, as in real life, those people who own hedge funds have their personal convictions and to some extent place their money that way. There are always some who would benefit from volatility. There are always others, and usually more, who would benefit from calm markets, but some might benefit from volatility.
Who else is behind the Brexit campaign? Who can profit from it?
I don't think that a lot of people would actually profit from it, as the economic results would be negative and the political consequences for Britain are difficult to imagine. Of course, winners in the narrow sense might be those politicians who might replace the current Prime Minister, the current Chancellor. In that sense, in the narrow sense, there might be political winners, but I don't think the country as a whole would have any gain.
Talking about the renegotiation process, do you think it's going to be easy for Britain, if it decides to leave, to get a sweetheart deal from Europe?
It would be probably impossible for Britain to get a sweetheart deal. First of all, the EU would have to agree on a sweetheart deal for Britain. And after Britain filing for divorce, I don't think there would be a lot of goodwill among the other 27 countries to get together and offer a sweetheart deal. And on top of that, the main interest of the other 27 countries would be to keep the remainder of the EU together. And that means don't make it too easy to actually get a divorce, because otherwise other countries might get ideas. I think this would be a very difficult and lengthy divorce, which would be costly.
Holger, before I let you go, very briefly, if you have to pick one major concern, your worst fear about a Brexit, what would it be?
It's the political consequences of a Brexit in the UK and, on top of that, across Europe.
Holger Schmieding there from Berenberg Bank. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio on this special edition of Made in Germany.